Wow, we have the whole crew here today.
What? I almost wasn't here too.
Me too, because I leave at 4:00 tomorrow morning, and I just got done packing for my week and a half of pure fun.
Right. Pasadena is coming up.
See, I am also going to have 2 weeks of pure fun because I have a show and then visit with some very good friends and then another show.
Show, cruise, show. One right after another, direct. Ha!
All right, you
But that's
got
okay.
me.
I'm so excited. I'm like, I get to go out to Jess Rona's place tomorrow. I'm heading into LA a little early, so I'm so excited. I get to hang out with Jess Rona.
I give her my regards.
You know what? Your fun is probably as much as I love the people we're going to be visiting. Probably outfund me by this much.
And I'm spending it at Melissa Jepson's place at her house. See, I'm going to add that in. Ha!
I'm sorry, we can't even compete.
I'm excited. So yes, it'll be a lot of fun though.
All right. So the reason we, again, like usual, we come up with a topic. I don't know.
You.
But the whole point is we usually don't have a topic until I'm about ready to hit go live. We're like, I don't know. We need a topic. So Chris came to the rescue today a full 15 minutes before we were going live.
That's almost like being prepared.
It's like,
right? And the best is I clicked on the wrong link. So I'm sitting in a waiting room and I'm like, she didn't change the topic. Maybe I'm in the wrong waiting room. I go back, I come back, I click in, I go, is dealing with heat and no-shows. I'm like, oh, nope, I'm in the right place. And I remembered topic things are thinging.
Okay, so Chris, what happened today?
Well, part of the heat thing happened today. And one thing happened today, one thing happened yesterday, because not just mobile and house call groomers. If you're in extreme heat, and I'm sorry, I'm not in Arizona, but to me, anything over 90 is extreme heat.
That's fair.
Especially if you're not
used humidity.
Plus, yes, we have humidity. Yeah. I've been in Vegas where it's 110 in Vegas will feel like our 90 because the humidity isn't there, and you walk out and it feels like you're walking through soup. Mm-hmm. And that if you just open your mouth, you could hydrate. Because just moisture, so we need to give ourselves some grace, because even in shops, and I had this conversation with a client today, my home HVAC is struggling to deal with everything, to deal with the humidity. Like, my husband was concerned it was broken. And I'm like, it's 70, the thermometer's reading 75% humidity. I know it hurts us, our old people's souls, to turn the AC down to 65. But we might have to do that to get it more comfortable. Because, we got long-haired cats that are baking.
Yeah, I will turn my AC on for my dogs at the drop of a hat. It's warm in here. Turn that AC on.
We find 77 quite pleasant. That's our compromise.
Yeah.
I would have it colder and he would have it warmer, but that's our compromise.
That's your
Sometimes
compromise.
I walk by and he's eked it up to 78 and I just eke it right back down to 77.
77 is where I keep mine as well.
See, y'all are lizards. I'm sorry.
Oh, we're
You
at like
just-
68. 68 in the salon. And then at home, 69
Well-
to 72.
And in
Oh,
the
no, no, no.
salon,
If my AC is on, it's at 65. We're talking refrigerator. Yes. So when I was mobile, I had one of these things. You know, Michelle, this was designed by somebody in Arizona. Unfortunately, she went out of business, and I'm pretty sure I have the last stash of them.
Mhm.
I'm bringing some of them to Colorado. Okay.
Good.
They're window clings. They're thermometer window clings. And for mobile in the Northeast, these were really great because not only was it tell you too hot, it goes to the reverse side and tells you when it's too cold.
nice.
Oh,
Because
that's nice. Yeah.
Like an actual thermometer.
Crazy.
I would just put it on the window leading into the work area. And what was really great about that was that it would read like 120 degrees. I'm sorry, my AC is not getting the interior of my mobile grooming van down comfortable enough to work. But then, you have clients who are like, well, I'm sure your AC is fine. Don't really realize how hot those mobile vans can get.
Mhm.
Mhm.
And I would walk them over and I would show them where it says it's at 120, which is as high as this thing goes. I says, it's 120 degrees in there. You honestly think I can cool this down to work on your dog safely?
It's a minimum of 120 because
It
if
is
that's
a
as high as
Mhm.
that goes, it's a minimum of 120. It could be.
120 degrees in this mold because they're tin cans, right? Heats them up. So I used it as a learning tool for my clients. But when I say it's too hot, I mean it's too hot. But on the
Right.
flip side too, it can get too cold to work. You know,
Mhm.
there's nothing like jumping out of your van and hitting an ice thing and like breaking a toe because it's that cold. So, anywho, I will bring them to the Colorado show. If I
How many of them do you have left?
I think I packed 10 of them, but I have more. Some of the packaging is not the greatest. And so I'm definitely keeping a couple for myself because I have it on my greenhouse.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. But I have, Angie, if you want one that doesn't look so hot, the packaging doesn't look so hot.
Yes.
Yeah, I tried several different kinds of thermometers to put in my greenhouse, and it broke it every single time. It just shattered.
Oh, no, but it's plastic. It's not glass.
Oh, yeah, there were some that were plastic also.
Oh, no.
Shattered. The thermometer itself shattered, gone, bye.
Well, they work really well in mine because I have a waggle and I have this in my greenhouse.
Perfect. Well, I mean, you don't live in the parlor of Hades, so.
The sitting room, it's the sitting room. It's not in the house proper. It's just where
Correct.
guests go.
Correct.
Okay.
I'm not a
That
member, just visiting. Just visiting.
That makes sense. Speaking of trade shows, I see two people that I'm probably going to see in a few days.
Huh?
Mhm.
But yeah, we need to give ourselves extra time, extra grace. And even in my garage, I know I have to come in an hour early and crank it to get it cold because my dehumidifier, and I know humid air holds more heat, so cooler air is less humid, but my physical dehumidifier cranks out hot air. Like hot air comes out of the vent. So crank it down, crank on the dehumidifier, because by the time I turn on the blow dryer, it's going to start heating the place up. So I have to get it almost frigid. And then I don't have a passenger door. So people come in and I'm like, there goes all the cold air. Turning directly into my parents.
HVAC is the worst thing in the salons, especially when you have, 4 canines going and 3 bathtubs going and 6 groomers grooming. And It
And-
is keep up on it. We have to change the filters once a week. And I called our landlord, and we moved to this facility 2 years ago. So he's a little bit newer. And I said, you know, it keeps cranking on really like early and like full blast. And he is like, it's fine. I'm like, it's dirty. I'm telling you, go up there. And they're like, oh, it was really dirty. I'm like, yeah, I sort of know what I'm talking about.
Mhm.
Like, I've been
Funny
doing
like
this a
that.
I know. I'm like, I sort of know what I'm doing. Thanks.
What?
But yeah, I constant so we don't blow it either. And
Yeah.
dehumidifiers. Mhm.
And dehumidifiers. Oh, for any corporate groomers of any corporation who may be listening to this, here's a little bit of malicious compliance for you. Read your P&P. Read your manuals. There will be something in there about heat. Make sure there is a working thermometer in your salon, because I've been in corporate grooming salons where they didn't want to follow their own rules in terms of when the salon, yes, those little things off Amazon, they're magnets on the back. It takes like a little basic, either a AA or AAA. It's, oh no, it takes the
Not
little
even.
round.
No,
But anyway,
AAA.
that one takes triple. Listen, they're common as dirt. You can get a 3-pack for like $25 and stick them up. 12, whatever.
Mhm. That's what we have all throughout our salon.
Worth it, all over the salon.
Yep.
I had like
Because
20 of them in the salon.
Mhm.
because what most of their P&P says is that if the temperature reaches X amount in the grooming salon, I think it's 80, 85. It may have changed. It depends on the corporation.
And on the bottom is a hydrometer. So it tells you humidity as well.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, yeah. You need one with humidity. But the P&P says you shut down at a specific time.
Mhm.
And especially with how the corporate restructure of managers in some of the salons have gone. You can tell them this needs to be checked, this needs to be checked. But once that temperature hits a certain amount, dryers off, dogs in kennels, there's protocol written down.
Mhm.
So you stopping and you saying you're going to have to call all of these clients to tell them to either pick their dogs up, like reschedule, pick them up half done, refund. I don't care what you do. Tell them we're going to be late. We can't groom until it gets back underneath this threshold.
Yeah, for us, it's in the winter if it gets too cold and the water heater goes out.
Mm.
Then for us, I'm not giving everybody a seizure just because we want to get
no.
the dogs done. You know, if it's too cold, it's too cold.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. That is definitely a thing that happened. But yeah, there's problems.
Ours does pretty well. We keep it at 75, and for me, if I'm almost having a sheen of sweat, then that's probably where it's comfortable for everybody. So I just make very slow, gentle movements.
Yeah, don't move. Don't make yourself sweaty. Don't get
That's right. I'm not trying to.
Amber.
Okay, so back to our heat. So what else happened today, Chris?
Oh, well, it wasn't about the heat. That was the thing that happened yesterday. Was it? Okay. The no-show thing, more happened yesterday. But, with the heat, everything ran so late. On my last appointment was like, we're rescheduling. Because my first appointment was a big dog, took longer than I expected. Got to my second appointment's house, and she's like, we have no water. They're working on the kitchen. They swear 10 more minutes. They swear 10 minutes and you'll have water. So that was about 15, 20 minutes of just waiting when I'm already late. So yeah. And I also think even if you're just in and out a little bit, the heat just takes it out of you.
It does.
Mhm.
So maybe attempt to book accordingly.
Ours
Yeah.
finally went down. Our temperature dropped yesterday. Like Kayla said, it went from like 90 degrees down to 72 in a matter of an afternoon with a nice front that came through. I can always tell when it's kicked on and, higher humidity outside and heat.
It was only 89 here today. It was.
Oh,
chilly.
it was. Oh, that would have been lovely. That would have been lovely. Much better than like 93, 94 and high humidity.
Mhm.
The other thing is, every afternoon we get rain, so it
No,
drops
3:00, right?
pretty much.
You have a 3:00 shower?
Yeah, it like middle of the afternoon. It just the clouds roll in and it goes bleh, and then the temperature drops, and like right now it's 84 because the sky, blew its nose all over us, and I don't have to water the garden because enough water drops that it's not.
That's
an
why
issue.
it stays so green. That's why you have such a fantabulous vegetable garden. Same
Yeah.
with Mary. She's got a really good zone.
So, but the only issue is if you're wanting to do yard work
Mm.
and you have things to do in the morning, or you have like a job, like a regular sort of job where you're away.
Like a person.
When you get home, you can't cut the lawn because it's sopping wet.
Mhm.
So then the only time you can do it is you have to get out there at like the crack of dawn. But if you have neighbors, that's not a workable option. Or you have to have a day off and do it like first thing in the morning at like 9:00
Mhm.
because the rain is coming and it will ruin the rest of your day. I cannot tell you how many times I have been out mowing the lawn and all of a sudden I'm like, oh no.
Mhm.
And I have 5 acres, so it takes 4 hours to mow the lawn.
Mhm.
And it's like, no, wait, I'm almost done. Just give me half an hour. And
So that's actually not my job to mow the lawn. We have 5 acres here too. That's in Estos. And I love it when it rains because you know what happens when it rains? I don't have to water.
Right? Rain? What's that?
You know? But in Esto, we'll be mumbling like I can see the grass growing, you know? And I'm like, hallelujah. I don't have the water today. This is awesome. So yeah. Oh, and by the way, last Sunday was the first inaugural Sundays with Mary with Michelle. So we discussed crocheting and quilting. Next Sunday, or no, I'm sorry, this Sunday, Angie's going to be on, and we're going to talk gardening.
Ooh,
Ooh.
I like it.
Honestly, Mary, for a second, because I know you asked me what I wanted to talk about, I was like, oh no, I'm away. Please don't surprise me and say Chris, because no.
No, I was scheduled. I was
Okay,
scheduled
okay.
as the person to do it. So Angie is scheduled for next week. Okay.
I'm the following. Is it the
And
following?
And
Yeah.
this is the following. We're actually going to do book club because we're going to be in
Oh.
Colorado.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mhm.
What
What-
book? I can do book club.
So, well, I
Is it
wanted
gonna be
to discuss
sleazy?
business books. Okay. So the book I wanted her to bring was, you want to tell the title or do you want to make it a surprise?
Let's make it a surprise. But I did pack it. I remembered. I made sure that it was on my list and it's in my bag.
Right. So various business books. Okay.
Mhm.
So come join us if you have a favorite business book. I don't, here's the thing. I'm not sure on the time. The time is it's just going to be Sunday.
So it's a mystery.
It's a mystery time. But however, you can watch the replay on Facebook, on TikTok, on YouTube. Those are the 3 places I have it.
So
Okay, no shows.
no shows. So we were talking about this before. And something happened the other day that made me look at it in a new way. and made me go, oh, when do we not charge? When do we reevaluate? Because we were discussing before we went live, as we always do, and it was, and I would have 100% agreed with everything that was being said 3 days ago. Now I'm at about 75 to 85% because we were like, no, you don't get chances. Like collecting a no-show fee is great, but that time could have gone to somebody else, basically, in the amount of chances.
This was always my fault, my policy. You got one get out of jail card free. Okay. In which case you were not charged. Right. After that, you were, unless it was a true emergency. Okay. Call me. If you just call me so I don't pull down your driveway. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I'm fine with that. An hour beforehand, I just don't have to go to your house. Okay. Mm-hmm. That for me is worth a lot. Okay. Yeah. I have had people and tell me, you know what? So, things happen. You don't always remember. I've had people call me on their way to the airport to attend a funeral to send me a message that they needed to reschedule their appointment and that they were sorry.
Oh, I have a good one. I'm so happy you brought this up. So I have two just in the past 2 weeks, one on either side of this. Uh-huh. So I walked this morning a few weeks ago. We had a client who came in every 4 weeks with her beagle. And she would, throughout 8 years, she would do a lot of last minute cancellations and stuff. And we just sort of tolerated it. Like it was, oh, okay, whatever. It's just a beagle. Well, this last time she confirmed her appointment the night before. We called her because we call everyone at 10 minutes to make sure they're okay if they haven't showed up at 10 minutes after. And she was at the airport. So we decided to go ahead and charge her. And on top of that, our new policy when we switch softwares is that any no-show or anything that we have to collect a no-show fee, because we don't make all the clients have a credit card on file. Right. But you do it, then the credit card needs to go on file. Well, I just had my receptionist start, and obviously she did her job. When they came in, they paid it, but we went to go have them put it on file, and they said, we respect your business, but we're never coming back. Fast forward 6 weeks later, and she gets a reminder text that, because we send out reminder texts, it's automatic at 6 weeks. And she replied, and this is what I walked into was, no, we're no longer using your services. It pretty much, she took it personal. The whole gist of it was that, how dare, like, pretty much you asked me to do this, like we've done this and we're a repeat offender. And she took it very offense to that. We just wanted her credit card on file. And I promptly replied that my receptionist was doing her job. And I'm sorry she feels that my business practices were personally against her, and that was not the intent. But my receptionist was doing what she was supposed to. And if somebody will, like, and I say, if a client has, would like an exception, if you bring it up, we'll discuss it. I will make exceptions, So, like, she just automatically got upset, and that's sort of what I did. But you can take however you want that story. If you constantly let people get away with it and you finally enforce it, you're going to upset a lot of people, right? The other person, he called up for a nail trim, and he was afraid. He didn't know if he was going to get charged. His wife's surgery lasted too long, but he was going to try and make it. And my husband's like, I know, right? So my husband, real quick in the middle of the day, texted him and said, there's no fee. Don't worry about it. Finally got him rebooked and stuff. And, we even said, don't worry, just to let you know, our no-show fees, we don't care about nail trims. Like, we don't do a $40 no-show fee for a nail trim. And he's like, but I feel horrible that could have went for someone else who would pay. So you have two completely opposite sides. For him, we did a free nail trim. And just because he was a very decent human being, and just the fact that he thought of the business, here to find out, he started crying because the dog that we did the nail trim on actually wasn't even expected to live this past week that it came in, and his wife had surgery, and we were able to help him. So exception, yeah, and that, like, So
Yeah.
there's two sides to that, right? Here's our
There-
acceptance.
right. And that's what I wanted to bring up. So yesterday I went into a client's house, and you have those clients, especially that you can actually talk to and you're more friendly with, and you can have real conversations. And I had a real moment because I was really stressed. And he was talking about his mother-in-law who lives with them. And this touches a lot on what Amber just said. And he's like, this is how it is. This is why she's living with us now. And I knew she was suffering from dementia. He said when they first were looking like, oh crap, she can't live on her own. Where, what do we do? Do we find a place? Does she come in here? He said they went over her credit card statements, and there were thousands of dollars in no-show fees. And I could have sworn he said thousands and not hundreds. And no-show fees from her hair salon, because she would make appointments and just forget. I mean, dementia, like forget.
Mhm.
That never happened. So it hit me differently because
You know what? That's a
For-
different case, Chris.
but
you-
at what point? But that's the thing. If it's, we have automated systems now, and yes, that's a different case. But that clearly went on for more than 2 or 3 appointments. Like, at what point do we go?
I have a story on that one too. So just had a client, same thing. Her mom had dementia, kept making, now they've been longstanding clients. It's always been a weird situation. Like it used to be under the daughter's name, and then she'd get mad that we were calling her, and then she put it under the mom's name, and then the mom would always come in. It was a whole mess anyways. So the mom had been coming in for years, and she started making appointments and last minute canceling. She didn't no show, but like we're talking an hour before her appointment, or like that morning, like the day of. And honestly, our late cancellation, we say 24 hours. We actually give it, if we like even the night before, we don't really charge, but the day of, that's a whole different story.
Yeah.
So the daughter called up because all of a sudden we let it go for a little bit because we knew that we didn't know she had dementia, but we knew that there was like something going on, and we would waive it. But finally it got to the point where she did that 4 or 5 times in a row. And we're like, I can't keep doing this. So we did end up, and the mom was fine paying it. She understood. And then the daughter called. And she was mad that we would take advantage of her mom and that she has dementia. And I'm like, I'm sorry, it's still a business. Like, she's done this now 4 or 5 times. We have record of everything. So then it got to be where if the mom made an appointment, we were supposed to call her or text her. So we even did that, and then it still was an issue. And she eventually figured out how to tell us both her dogs died, which they didn't just die. So she removed herself. She removed herself from our client list. But we had the same thing, because how often do you allow someone with dementia to do that?
Yeah.
So ours was, it just got to be one right after another that finally we're like, something's got to give. So we tried with the daughter, and it didn't work out either. So, but I got the same thing. We just had that happen a few months ago.
All right, but here's the thing too, is that for somebody who, if that's something they've done their entire life, dementia is not an excuse anymore.
Correct.
Yes.
If
Different situations.
if they've always been really good, and then all of a sudden they're missing and they're elderly, I think that's a red flag that something is going on, that dementia could be an issue. All right. So I think that the hair salon that's constantly charging no-shows to the tune of thousands of dollars at some point, okay, should maybe, when it got to like, I don't know, $250 in fees, that maybe they should have questioned it.
Yeah, I agree with that. Absolutely.
But if this is an upscale human hair salon, if a no-show fee is the price of the service, that could be 2 appointments.
Okay, yeah, but again, when people are elderly, right, and dementia can be a thing, that's a change in behavior. It shouldn't go past I say put a dollar limit on it. You know
Yeah.
what? You
Mhm.
hit $250 in no-show fees. It is now time to reevaluate them. Maybe don't book them anymore.
Mhm.
Okay? You know, maybe see what's going on. I mean, I'm
Or maybe put in a different reminder call protocol for that client, because part of the problem is, and it's part of the disease, is you don't necessarily know that you're forgetting. So other people are just lying.
Mhm.
Other people are absolutely lying. There's no way you did that. And it becomes a whole thing.
Mhm.
So you have to be careful about how you approach them and how you call them, and just maybe chat about their kids. Do they have kids in the area? It can be, hey, do you want me to keep your kid's number on file in case like the weather's ever bad and you can't pick Fluffy up? So then you have a way to talk to their child.
I
We
just
did
wouldn't let
that.
it get past the second one, simply because sometimes they're on a fixed income. You know, I don't want to
Mhm.
rack up $250
Mm-mm.
for somebody who can't afford the
Yeah.
first one in the first place.
Yeah,
We've been very fortunate that we live in a retirement town, a snowbird town. So the daughters and sons of these elderly people are very close. You know, so they really do keep track of their appearance. You know, and a lot, and I'll tell you, we've had 5, maybe 6 elderly clients actually die, and the children have come in with the dog on the appointment time and said, yeah, mom passed away, or you know, we had to put her in a home, or you know, and they find somebody to take the dog, and then they show up. We've been very fortunate to have a clientele like that. But I do understand in different areas and in salons that I worked at before, that that's a huge thing, and I feel bad letting it go past the second time, you know, until they can show up with the dog. You know, I'm not even worried about it. Sometimes they'll show up and I'll just work them in because they can't remember if they made an appointment or not. And I'm like, you know what, let's just give them a nice comfy groom, send them
Mhm.
back out the door, you know, and hope they don't crash into anybody. That's
We
basically
have
what
a
you
few
got.
that come in and we're like, they may or may not show up. Whenever they show up, just take them.
Right.
well,
Yeah.
that's what we had. A couple people, and it was 2, and after that, it was okay. When she calls, tell her to come right down.
Mhm.
And we had her stay in the parking lot. You stay right there,
Mhm.
or you can stay in the waiting room. And generally, she stayed in the waiting room and then would talk Angie's ear off the entire time. And so, no, you come in right now, get the dog, even though there is no room. We're just,
Mhm.
you're thinking of it, we're doing it because we've already done 2. So now it's come right down. Here you go. Okay, get it. And of course, these were cats. So, you know, it's like, okay, uh, come in, get it done. Okay, bye. And it's done. And we just got to wait until she calls back because, you know, and I would be like, because I in such a habit of saying, do you like to book your next appointment? And it would just like, yeah, have a nice day. um, because, you know, it's habit. You know, they pay. Oh, and yeah.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I do have one that I know I have to remind because she'll forget. And I had the conversation with Cam last night because I was like, shit, it's 10:30. I didn't remind that client for tomorrow morning. Should I text her, or should I set a timer on my phone so it just texts her at 8 a.m. tomorrow? He's like, because I know I don't like texting clients after 9 p.m.
Mhm.
After 8 is even sketchy because I'm like, no, I have business hours. I have family time. But he's like, it's a holiday weekend. Just do it. Just do it. Thank God I did. And yes, this client is also one that I've told when she's tried the night before or the morning, like, oh, something happened. Can I do this? And I'm like, yes, but if you cancel it just this juncture, it is, I'm going to have to send you an invoice. So she miraculously made it there.
Yeah, it's amazing when that happens.
Mm-hmm.
The other thing that we used to do too with some of the folks like that is we used them when we had so we had a list of last name, last appointment date on a sticky note. And it's like, all right, so they need to be done in about 4 or 5 weeks. And if there was a no-show in that 4 to 5 weeks, hey, can you bring Fluffy today? Great. Oh no. Oh, I know. It just so happened. Perfect timing. And so yeah, and then they'd come down. We get them in, done. So they're good fill-ins because they're elderly. They don't work. They have the ability to generally come most of the time. So we just, kind of kept track of their schedule and would call them and go, hey, do you think you can come on down today and get the appointment?
Mhm.
And they're like, oh, how did you know?
Mhm. That's a great idea, actually. Set a reminder. I'm sure your software or whatever you're using has some sort of reminder.
Yeah.
That's a great idea, Angie. Yeah. And just
And
keep them to fill in the spots either when you have another no-show or you have a really light day
Yep.
that you have to rearrange.
Yeah.
And it worked out really nice. And that way you're on with them at time.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And they're in motion. Pet comes in, boom, boom, done.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a social event for them. A lot of these people are lonely.
Mm-hmm.
So they enjoy the social aspect of it, the chat, they love chatting with Angie. And she loved chatting with them. And, they'd, sit up front and have a good old chat with her. And it was a social thing,
I had a client who I booked the last appointment of the day after a certain point because after her husband died, it's her and the dog alone in the house. And I mean, even before we chatted a lot, but it was always groom the dog, sit down, have a chat, have a glass of water. She wasn't the big, I don't like drinking at clients' houses. But yeah. And talk and
Yep.
It was nice. She made plans for us for the future. Like, I'm going to go live by my daughter-in-law. I'm going to get a house down in Princeton, but it's so beautiful there. Once a month. What's just once a month? You'll still drive down, right? You will make it a day. And so sweet.
I love the elderly clients.
Yeah.
The story is fantastic.
And I did read what Amber said. I'm just in mild horror.
Yeah.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we are past our half hour. Angie, you have a weird animal fact?
I do. It's on condors.
Nice.
Because I am in Florida and you see them all over the sky.
Angie's Weekly Weird Fact.
Okay, so condors are one of the largest flying birds in the world. They only eat dead animals. They do not at any time eat or hunt live animals. So roadkill, animals that have been shot, things like this. And this is why their head is bald. Whoops. This is why their head is bald. Because they're eating a carcass, right? And of course, there's bacteria because it's been sitting in the sun and things like this. So they can clean it really easy.
Are all carrion birds like that?
Most.
I was going to say, is that why vultures look like that? Is that,
A lot of carrion eating birds are
buzzards and yeah.
Yes. so it's very easy to clean, and it keeps them bacteria free. It keeps them disease free because they're sticking their head in a dead carcass.
Mhm.
Just, So, despite their intimidating size, condors are known for their playful and curious nature. So, they actually play. They'll play fight like in the air or on the ground, and they'll be like, do this with their wings and like hop and stuff. It's really cute. There were a couple of them playing out over in the side yard the other day, and they're all hopping around each other with their wings out and being all big. And
Being all big.
yeah.
That's
And
cute.
so I put out new wind spinners from time to time. And because I'm getting them put together, they're all in the garage. And little by little, I'm finding the pieces because not everything went in the same box. It was kind of mixy boxy on the thing. So it's like, oh, I found the stick. Yay. I finally put that up. So I'll put it out there. And all of a sudden, like as it's spinning, a bunch of them will come over and be like, what's that? They're very curious. I have a ton of them because my house has a cemetery on one side, and the other side is woods, and then a road, and then more woods, and then a highway. Well, as you can imagine, a lot of small animals die on that highway because it's a 65-mile-an-hour zone. So, a lot of vultures, turkey vultures, all sorts of buzzards of one type or another. And so they come over here, and because, the draft carries them over, and they're like, ooh, what you got? So it's cool. They have a slow reproductive rate. This is crazy. A mating pair will typically only produce one offspring every other year. So they have been around since the time of the mammoth. They're that old. So there have been carrion birds, condors in particular, for that long. It's nature's cleanup. What they do is reduce the disease factors and things like this by removing that waste so that what is left can quickly decompose and return to nature. So, and they have a 10-foot.
Angie's Weekly Weird Fact.
10 feet. That's crazy. 10 feet. That's 2 me's. All right. Maybe 8 inches. I'm 8 inches.
Okay. Who's the bookie? Who's the bookie? What's the over under on Angie getting a condor friend before the end of the year versus next summer?
I'm working on it.
I'm saying before the end of the year. I'm saying before the end of the summer.
Well, I go out and I talk to the birds. So, I say hi to them when I'm working in the yard and stuff like that. And, I tell them how pretty they are. And so I've got a couple ravens that will come over and they'll hop around near me, and I talk to them. And then there's a couple crows that
give them shiny things.
If you get a corvid friend, I will lose my mind. Do you understand me?
I'm lose so hard. I want one so bad. So yes, I'm encouraging the behavior.
Them?
Huh?
Michelle, I will lose it right there with you. Lose it.
I'll lose my mind. I want a corvid friend so bad. I can taste it. I can taste the cookies I'm going to give them.
So many. So I've got, a feeder out, and when I'm outside, I talk to them, and, I already have James the squirrel.
And they like food puzzles. You can give them food puzzles.
Yep. And so, and James now took a wife who needs a name. I'm open to suggestions. And
Mildred.
Mildred, she has
Millie for short. James and Millie.
James and Millie. Okay, because
Okay.
they
That sounds like a couple that weathered the storms together.
so they live in the Magnolia. So those two are used to me. They're just like, oh, hey, how's it going? Whatever. They don't care. And then the Cardinals are used to me working around back there, and they'll come over and see what I'm doing. I can't touch them yet. So and so they live in the wisteria, and so when I moved in, they were like, hey, you're new, and they're like, oh, thanks for the food, you're okay.
Yeah, as someone who spent $90 today at Wild Birds Unlimited.
Yeah, well, I make sure that they have what they need, and so they're like, yeah, okay. And they have their little watering area and things like that. I worked on making sure they have plenty of nesting material, because I blow out the pugs outside. They're like, hey, thanks. That's
So soft.
it's like downy fluff.
They're good. You're going to have some of the best insulated nests,
Dude,
in
seriously.
Florida.
Jazz is a hair beast. She's basically just a snoring yak. So she drops like her body weight weekly. So
Nice.
All right.
All right. Some of us are traveling tomorrow. Some of us are
Yeah.
working tomorrow and traveling Thursday because some of us are insane. I wonder who that is.
have fun in Colorado, guys.
It's my birthday.
When is? When's your birthday?
July 10th. Yeah. Dawn's was July 7th, and then our anniversary is on the 16th, all in July.
Nice.
Okay.
Good planning. That was some good planning.
That was really good planning. All right. I will see everybody next week.
Night.